On board Aditya Agarwala as well from On the Technicals. Aditya, very good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in with us. And the first stock that you picked out for us is a mid-cap IT name, Birlasoft. This one has done fairly well. It does make the list a lot more. What's the view on Birlasoft now? Where do you see it headed in terms of a target that one should keep?
Vinny, thanks for having the show. Always a pleasure. I believe it's time to look at the stock again. After a massive outperformance last year, did come under a bit of pressure, I can say, a bit of profit booking and consolidation. Now it seems like it's reversed again. On the charts, it has formed a positive reversal with respect to RSI. That is RSI forming a lower low price, making a higher low, which is a bullish signal. Now I believe from current levels, stock ticks the list in the buyer's recommendation. So at current levels, one should definitely look at adding the stock in the portfolio for a target of 830 to about 860 on the upside, with a good support on the downside at 740, 730. So I believe, and if I take a look at the indicators as well, are supporting the bullish view on the stock. So overall, stock looks extremely bullish, and after a decent correction, I believe it definitely makes a buy at current levels, offers good risk to reward as well.
Alright, let's move on then. Let's talk about Gopal Snacks, newly listed counter. Ankita, but why is this one in focus?
Well, yes, Cheryl, you rightly pointed out it's a newly listed counter. In fact, the share tumbled nearly 5% to hit a new all-time low of 341 rupees a piece after the company posted a week's numbers for the December quarter. This was the first that company reported its earnings since its listing in the month of March, and during quarter 3 of FY24, the company reported a standalone net profit of 17 crore rupees, marking a significant 44% decrease compared to the net profit of 33 crores recorded in the same period last year. Additionally, revenues from operation remained relatively stagnant at 367 crore rupees in quarter 3 of FY24, showing a minimal growth compared to 363 crore revenue reported in the corresponding period of the previous year. The EBITDA was also down 39% on a year-on-year basis, and the margins also saw a contraction of 642 basis points on a year-on-year basis. On the back of weak results, Gopal Snacks is knocked down in trade today, trading with a loss of 2.8% right now.
Okay, let's move on, talk about M&M then. And Aditya, when you're looking at M&M, currently it's trading around the 52-week high level. So what's the view on M&M? Would you say it's still a buy at 1,985?
Definitely, if I take a look at the overall chart setup, a month back, it hit a new all-time high, and from there, stock underwent a bit of profit taking. And interesting is the profit taking was on shallow volumes, and it did take support at crucial Fibonacci support levels as well. And now in trade today, it's broken up from that previous peak. So that's a very good signal as far as the technical setup is concerned. Stock making higher highs, higher lows. At current levels, also one can actually look at the stock, latch onto it if you have missed out on the rally from the morning or maybe yesterday. At current levels, if you're looking to buy the stock, you can definitely look at adding it in a portfolio for a target of close to about 2,100 to about 2,150 on the upside. It could be more of a positional trade, Winnie, with a good support on the downside at 1,950. Plus, look at RSI and MACD, both have had a positive crossover with the respective trigger lines. So I believe it's good trade to take at current levels if one wants to initiate a fresh long.
Move on, talk about one more stock in the auto pack, and that is Sona Comstar. They've received their second PLI certification for E2W hub level, and this is for hub wheel motors. Now the company has filed 7 applications for different products under this PLI scheme, and this is the second one that they have received. Overall, the company said that yes, this PLI scheme is for automobile and auto component industry in India. They received this from the Ministry of Heavy Industry, and overall Sona Comstar has received the second certification. First one was in Feb, this was in April, that was yesterday. So keeping an eye out on Sona Comstar BLW. This is they are becoming the first automotive component manufacturer to receive certification under the auto PLI scheme. So yes, interesting one for Sona Comstar, though given up all those morning gains, as of now trading almost near the day's lowest point, but an interesting stock to keep an eye out on.
Right, that's Sona Comstar for you. But let's talk about IRCTC. Aditya, among the PSU counters, or rather the railway PSU counters, you had IRCTC that started rallying a bit later compared to the rest of the pack, right? But nevertheless, in the last 6 months, 41% uptick. In the last 1 month or so, last week or so, the spike has been even more sharper for this one. So where do you see this one headed? Will it take a pause or some more steam left?
Afternoon, Cheryl. I believe there's much more steam left in the stock, and you rightly pointed out. Look at the way the rest of the railway pack stocks have shot up. IRCTC has underperformed big time, and it has its reasons for underperformance. But looks like now a lot of people are interested in the stock. There's good volume activity on a regular basis that I see, and recently stock has broken that long consolidation phase as well. Last three trading sessions have extremely well for the stock. I believe there is such more room on the upside, and definitely stock can test levels of about 1100 to about 1150 on the upside. Will take some time, but I believe this is one stock within the railway pack. If you have missed out on the rally of the entire railway pack, should be looked at. Plus, look at technical setup as well, the indicator setups as well. Definitely point towards the bullishness. So on the upside, 1100, 1150 are my targets. On the downside, supports are at 950, 960.
All right, so that's the take coming in on IRCTC. But let's talk about Shriram Properties, and that particular counter is in focus because the subsidiary has got about 446.8 crore rupees income tax penalty order. And the stock actually, when it opened for trade, it was seeing it saw a downtick of as much as about over 1% or around 2% or so. The penalty has, I beg your pardon, the company has received a legal advice indicating that the penalty is not maintainable as it relates to a tax demand that was already under challenge before the Madras High Court. The High Court had actually given interim order on July 23rd directing the respondent to maintain status quo with respect to any further proceedings in this regard. So that sort of a clarification may have sort of eased some sort of pain coming in for Shriram Properties. Nevertheless, the stock is trading lower by about 0.3%, but just a smart recovery from the day's low.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on Shriram Properties. But let's move on, talk about another auto stock that you have picked out for us today, Aditya, and that's Escort Kubota. What's the chart indicating for this one? At least the March sales numbers, not anything exciting that came in, was below expectations. So in terms of the charts, anything positive there?
I think markets have ignored the autos numbers for the stock, and today it's broken out from a 6-month long consolidation phase. If you look at last 6 months, stock didn't do much for itself. In fact, as you can see on the screen, it's down almost 6%. But in trade today, it's broken out from that 6-month long consolidation downward sloping channel, I could say, and it's broken out on good volumes, Winnie. So I believe it's time to look at the stock, and after a big consolidation, when you get such kind of a breakout on good volumes, usually the up move sustains for next trading sessions. So I believe stock can easily test levels of 3200 about 3400 on the upside with an immediate support at 2950. This makes a good buy at current levels with a risk to reward also in favor of going long. Plus your RSI has also moved into the bull territory, the strong bull territory, which suggests that the up move is likely to continue. So with a good support at 2950, 2900, definitely a buy for 3300 about 3400.
All right, moving on then, let's talk about Andhra Papers then. Shesha, why is this stock in focus today?
Negative news flow because of which the stock saw a sharp downtick at about 11:30, but it has recovered from the lowest point of the day, now sitting with a gains of in excess of 1% as we speak. So the company informed the exchanges that operations at company's manufacturing unit in Rajamundry has been disrupted due to illegal strike by workers with effect from yesterday, that is the 2nd of April. Strike is demanding higher revision in wages in the forthcoming wage settlement with the management. The management, of course, clarified that they are in talks with the respective authority to resolve the issue immediately and will also provide an update for the same. But apart from this, the company also said that this strike is leading to production loss to the tune of 1.6 crores. So the of this news that came in, the stock saw that decline, now has recovered from the lowest point of the day.
Let's move on and talk about PI Industries then. And on the charts, Aditya, what's PI Industries looking like? You know, we always see that in the last 1 year, at least it's remained in that 3,000, 4,000 level range. Do you expect it crossing 4,000 mark this time around? What should we see?
I would like to believe so, Vinny, that finally now the stock will continue its up. It's broken out from that downward sloping trend line that you're talking about. Stock didn't do much for itself. It moreover was around the levels, but I believe now it's time to look at the stock. Definitely stock can test levels of 4200 on the upside. That's my first target, and I wouldn't be surprised if it actually crosses 4200 and inches much higher from those levels. But as of now, I would stick to 4200 as my initial targets with a good support on the downside at 3750. a long consolidation, and the recent up moves, if anything, to see go by are on good volumes. So Vinny, I believe these volume backed up move that we're seeing in the stock will likely to continue in the coming trading sessions as well. And this last 6 months of minor outperformance will continue in the next couple of weeks as well.
All right, moving on, let's put the spotlight then on the realty pack, Sunteck Realty in particular. Why is this one in the spotlight today, Ankita?
Well, yes, Sunteck Realty is in focus today, and this is happening on the back of the fact that they have expanded the annuity income business, and they have also given their second building at BKC Junction, Sunteck Icon, to Bennett and Coleman Limited for a long-term tenure. This will allow the company to generate a revenue of close to 2,000 crore rupees over a period of 29 years. The build-up area of the Sunteck Icon is approximately 2 lakh square feet with an approximate rental of 300 per square feet per month on the carpet area basis. And on the back of this leasing of land, Sunteck is up and away at 2% in trade today.
Let's move on, talk about SBI Cards, Aditya. This one has been a bit of a correction in the last 6 months. Is it a good time to enter the stock finally, or are you expecting some bit more of a downfall that we could see?
I don't think there'll be more downside. Vinny, stock has already seen a lot of downside in the not only last 6 months, but I think in last 1.5 years, stock has been a marked underperformer. Somehow now stock has started to form positive divergences. So if not a massive up move, I at least think there will be a short-term up move in the stock from current levels, and stock can easily levels of 740, 760 on the upside with a good support on the downside at 680. Happens to be a cluster of lows. So given the fact that we are just about 15-20 points away from those lows, it's a good buy at current levels. SI started to form a positive divergence, as I mentioned. So and the volumes are also little on the thinner side as the stock corrects. So I believe it's a good time to look at the stock, at least for a short-term up move to levels of 740, 760. The stop loss at 680 on the downside.
Let's move on and talk about Ganesh Benzoplast. Now, this one is in focus today. We're seeing a bit of a downfall that has come in for the stock, and it's under pressure. Why is that so? Because what is said that they are considering authorizing Ramesh Punjabi to undertake an independent investigation in the affairs of the company GBL Chemicals. They are saying that the investigation is mainly to identify unauthorized bank account opened and ascertain the unauthorized borrowings. Also, GBL Chemicals CEO Ramakant Pilani had offered to resign from the company. So on the back of this investigation that may take place, and mulling on that is on the probe is something that is keeping the stock under pressure, down almost 4% today.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Chambal Fertilizers then, Aditya, another PSU counter, but in the fertilizer pack. And how do you see this one moving going ahead? Because a lot of these fertilizer counters, by default, every time ahead of the budget, a month or two or before the budget, you see a sharp rally in anticipation. Something may come out in the budget. Same ditto pattern this year as well. But you saw a sort of a correction creep in a tad bit. Now the stocks are back again to winning ways. Where do you see Chambal Fertilizers headed now?
I think it's headed higher, and we are still some distance away from the full budget that the new government will present, Cheryl. So I believe budget will not be the figure now, but there is an overall buying in most of the fertilizer stocks, and Chambal is also one of those which is actually buzzing and top of the list within the fertilizer space, and it's broken out from a downward sloping channel after a good consolidation, and on very good volumes as well. So this tells me that the uptrend is here to stay, and the breakout should sustain in the next coming sessions as well. A sustained trade above 376 will propel the stock higher, closer to about 400, 425. So I'll be playing with those targets of 400, 425 on the upside, with a good support on the downside at 360. So about 375, 376, I'll go aggressive long on the stock for a target of 400, 425. Volumes have been, like I mentioned, healthy, and the chart setup, the overall technical pattern setup has been bullish as well.
All right, let's talk about stock named as Epic Drill, which is near its 1.5-year high. This is on back of a capacity expansion news. If you see the stock, one point in time, it was trading higher by about 4%, taking it to the highest level since October 31st, 2022. Now the stock has given up some of these gains, nevertheless 1.5% higher. This company is a commodity chemicals maker, and they said that they've commissioned an additional 45,000 ton per annum capacity of chlorinated polyvinyl chloride, which is also known as CPVC resin plant in the Dahej facility. And the company has also said that they will venture into CPVC compound production with a projected capacity of about 35,000 tons per annum. So on back of that, we saw the stocks see a sharp up move of about 4%, now trading higher above 2.5%.
Let's move on, talk about the next stock that's in focus. And Aditya, Eclux is a stock that you've picked out for us. Overall, when you look at the one-year chart, yes, we've seen a fabulous run-up come in. But in the last 2 months, seems like a bit of a downfall, 2% downtick, not major still. So what's the view on Eclux services? You know, is it time to start booking profits? Maybe a downfall is something that one could see.
No, I think it's time to look at the stock and buy the stock in your portfolio, Vinny. Not the time to book profit. The stock, as you mentioned, has already seen a bit of a correction from the highs in the last 1.5 months. Now it's time to look at the stock for a fresh buying and adding in your portfolio. Not one of those stocks which actually moves just in 1 or 2 days, but a sustained up move is what I'm expecting in the stock after the recent corrections. The overbought levels have cooled off. The RSI is at a decent support level. MACD is also cooled off. So at current levels, I would suggest you can definitely look at adding fresh in your portfolio for a target of 2,800 on the upside. And once 2,800 is taken off, 3,000 will be the next target. On the downside, it has taken support at key Fibonacci retracement levels, which will act as an immediate support, which is close to about 2375, 2380 odd levels. With the stop loss just below that, I think one should definitely look at adding this in your portfolio for a target of at least 2,800, and if that is taken, hold on to it for a target of 3,000.
Alright, moving on, Risha, let's talk about Ashiana Housing, and this one is in the spotlight today, and why is that?
So the company said that they've sold all units of Gurugram project with a value of about 440 odd crores, and on the back of this report, the stock has recovered sharply from the lowest point of the day. 0.7% higher as we speak. So company in an exchange filing yesterday said that they've sold entire 224 projects in phase 3 of Ashiana Amra project in Gurugram, which has a total value of about 440 odd crores and a total saleable area of 3.77 lakh square feet. And this is not it, this was phase 3. Phase 3 and phase 4 of this project have total saleable area of about 9.2 lakh square feet. So on the back of this update that has come through, the stock is gaining nearly 3% as we speak.
Surely keeping an eye out on that, but let's move on and talk about a defense name that is Hindustan Aeronautics that's in focus. And Aditya, this one, no doubt we know all these defense names have seen a run up. What's the view in terms of the technicals for HAL, and where do you see it headed?
Vinny, every now and then stock pops up and makes a fresh 52-week high. It's one of those stocks which you can't ignore and miss and not have it in your portfolio. Again, in trade today, it's broken from a broadening wedge pattern despite the fact that it has run up significantly. There is room on the upside. I think 4,000 is something that I'm eyeing. It will take some time for the stock to hit 4,000 odd levels. Before that, 3,800 is my immediate target. With a good support on the downside at 3,450, I think one should definitely look at adding this in your portfolio. And following a recent cool off that the stock showed from 3,800 towards 3,000 odd levels, RSI had also cooled off from overbought zone. So I believe at current levels, RSI is also comfortable. You can definitely look at adding this in your portfolio, and the kind of news flows that you get for these defense counters, you will definitely see 3,800 in no time, and above that 4,000 will be the next target.
Alright, moving on then, Ankita, let's talk about Dhanlakshmi Bank, and I believe the counter is in focus on back of its operational performance.
That's correct. The bank is in focus on the back of its business updates. The first quarter business update revealing a rather positive growth trend across its various business segments. In fact, the stock is locked in upper right now. The bank reported a total business of 24,000 crore rupees, which is up 6.3% compared to 23,000 crore in the corresponding period last year. And the total deposits for the bank rose 14,259 crore rupees, marking a 6.8% increase reported in the previous year. The CASA deposits also grew 2.8%, reaching 4,300 crores compared to 4,200 crores in the same period last year. Now, the highlight of the bank's performance was the gold loan segment, which saw a growth of 24.9%. The gold loans portfolio expanded to 2,800 crore rupees from 2,200 crore rupees in the previous year. And in the back of a strong operational number, Dhanlakshmi's bank is up in a way 5% locked in upper circuit. Okay, that's Dhanlakshmi Bank on the back of its Q4 update. Also, we did have an update that came in from Moil as well. And when you talk about it, they also said that their financial year 24, the production surged by 35%. The sales also have gone up by 30%. That's on the fundamentals. Today, the stock is buzzing as well. And it's been buzzing since the last 6 months, Aditya. So, on the charts, what's the view for Moil?
I think there's a fresh up move in the stock. Many it's broken out from a W pattern and on extremely healthy volumes. Look at the volume today, it's high, pretty high, and I think stock can test levels of 360. In fact, this entire space, be it MOIL, be it Coal India, National Aluminium, Hindustan Zinc, all of them are buzzing. But I think MOIL India is something which still has much steam on the upside left after a recent correction. At current levels, one can definitely look at adding, despite the fact the stock is up 5% in trade today. I think stock can test levels of 360 in the near term. So it's more of a positional trade that one should look at. On the downside, 300 will be your stop loss, which is the immediate support zone, and definitely one should look at adding this in your portfolio.
All right, moving on then, Ashesha, let's put the spotlight on the entire cement pack and why are they in focus?
Yes, two separate news pieces. One, we will talk about Ultratech Cement, where the company yesterday said that they've commissioned 2 new greenfield projects and the total cement capacity now stands at 151.6 MTPA, and they are clearly on track to achieve their total capacity of about 200 MTPA by FY30. Apart from this, they've also committed to invest about 32,400 crores as capex over the next 4 years to achieve their expansion plans. Apart from this, cement stocks are also in focus because after 5 months of price cut, cement prices have now seen a price hike, and cement prices have risen by about 30 rupees per bag in Karnataka, by about 50 to 80 rupees per bag in Tamil Nadu. So all in all, across regions, 50 kg bag prices have risen anywhere between 30 to 80 rupees per bag. So on the back of both these news pieces, we have all these 3 counters in focus today.
Okay, keeping an eye out on all the cement stocks. Let's move on and talk about summer stocks. And Aditya, Blue Star is the one that you've picked out. Is this a summer story that you're playing or more long-term?
This is a long-term story, Vinny, because I think summer is there in India almost around the year, barring a few months. But yes, during summers, these are the stocks which usually buzz, be it a Blue Star, Symphony or a Voltas. Blue Star, I think, definitely still looks very strong. It's been making higher highs, higher lows, despite the fact summer, no summer, winter. And on the upside, I think stock can easily test levels of 1450, 1500 odd levels. And look at the last 2 trading sessions volume, way above the average volumes that you usually see in the stock. So I believe there is a good smart money which is buying into the stock at current levels. Can easily see a big up move in a day or two. So 1500 will be your immediate target with a support on the downside at 1320, 1300. It looks very strong on the charts. Plus RSI has also moved into the bull territory above the same level. So everything is set for the stock to test levels of 1450, 1500 on the upside. On the downside, you just have 50 rupees, which is 1300 is the immediate support level.
All right, moving on then, Hind Copper, JSW Steel, both of them in focus actually, Ashesha. And why is that, particularly because what's happening with the metal pack? Or are there some other reasons as well?
Well, absolutely. In fact, it's not just about today. Metal stocks have been gaining for the last several trading sessions. First up, let's talk about copper, where copper prices London Metal Exchange have risen nearly 5.5% in the last 1 month. Chinese copper smelters have proposed to cut production by 15 to 20%, because of which copper prices globally are on a rise, and players like Hindustan Zinc benefit as a result of rise in copper prices. Iron ore prices, meanwhile, have been declining. They've now fallen below that $100 per ton mark, and it is beneficial for non-integrated players like JSW Steel, and we are seeing that spike up coming in on JSW Steel as well.
Okay, keeping an eye out on those metal stocks as well today. That was stock number 47, 48 also we could say. That was the last stock for today. So thank you so much Ashesha, Ankita, Aditya as well as Nagraj for joining in with us, and it's a good from Sheryl, myself, and as well as the team who put this show together.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.